Hello there, I'm your friend, Teacher Sam. Today we're going to explore how taking notes can help you to improve your English learning skills. Note-taking, simply put, is the practice of recording information from different sources. It's a tool as old as learning itself, and it's essential in any learning process, particularly when mastering a new language like English. Why, you ask? Well, note-taking aids retention. It's not just about jotting down words or phrases. It's about actively engaging with the material, processing the information, and putting it in your own words. This not only helps in remembering the information longer, but also improves your comprehension of the topic at hand. Moreover, taking notes helps you track your progress, identify areas of improvement, and organize your thoughts better. So, are you ready to dive into the world of effective note-taking? Buckle up, because this is going to be an enlightening journey. Getting started with note-taking isn't as complicated as you might think. It's all about capturing the key points. Diving into the basics of note-taking, it's important to remember that the goal is not to write down every single word you hear. Instead, focus on the main ideas and most significant details. If you're in an English class or listening to a lecture, pay close attention to the speaker's main points and supporting details. Write these down in a way that makes sense to you, so you can easily recall the information later. Next, make a habit of summarizing information. Instead of jotting down long sentences, try to encapsulate the essence of what's being said in a few concise words or phrases. This practice will not only save you time, but also help you understand the content better. You're essentially translating the information into your own words, which boosts comprehension. Now let's talk about unfamiliar words or phrases. When you're learning English, you're bound to come across words and phrases you don't understand. Instead of glossing over them, make a note of them. Write them down and look them up later. This practice will expand your vocabulary and deepen your understanding of the language. Also, don't forget to keep your notes organized. It might seem trivial, but a well-structured note can make a huge difference when you revisit them for revision. Use headings, bullet points, or even different colored pens to distinguish between ideas, topics, or vocabulary. Lastly, keep your notes clear and concise. Your notes are there to help you remember and understand the material, not to confuse you with unnecessary details or complex sentences. Use abbreviations, symbols, or diagrams where possible to keep things simple and quick to review. Remember, your notes should serve as a quick reference guide, not a word-for-word transcript. Your goal is to create a tool that will help you recall and understand the information you've learned. And that's the beauty of note-taking. It's personal, it's adaptable, and above all, it's a powerful tool for learning English. Did you know that there are several methods of note-taking, each with its unique benefits? Let's dive into some of the most popular ones that you might find helpful in your English learning journey. First up, we have the Cornell method, a systematic format for condensing and organizing notes. This method involves dividing your page into 3 sections: cues, notes, and summary. The notes section is where you jot down main ideas and important details during your lesson. The cues section, on the left, is for questions or keywords related to the notes, which can help you review and test your understanding. Lastly, the summary section at the bottom is for a brief summary of the notes above. This method is particularly useful if you like a structured approach to your learning. Next, we have the outlining method, which is all about hierarchy and organization. You start with main topics, then subtopics, and then details related to those subtopics. It's like creating a tree with branches of information. This method is great if you prefer a clear visual representation of how information is connected, and it's particularly effective for understanding complex topics. Finally, we have the mapping method. This is a more visual and creative approach where you start with a central idea and draw branches out to related topics, further branching out to specifics. It's like creating a mind map. This method is ideal if you're a visual learner, as it allows you to see the relationships between different pieces of information. Each of these methods has its strengths and can be beneficial depending on your learning style. Perhaps you're a visual learner, and the mapping method works best for you, or maybe you prefer a more structured approach and find the Cornell method more suitable. Or perhaps the hierarchical structure of the outlining method helps you understand complex English grammar rules. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to learning, and the same goes for note-taking. Feel free to experiment with these methods, mix them up, or even come up with your own. Choosing a note-taking method that works for you can make your English learning journey more effective and enjoyable. Now that we've covered the basics and methods, let's focus on how note-taking can specifically boost your English learning skills. First off, think about vocabulary expansion. As you encounter new words and phrases, Jotting them down in your notes creates a personalized English dictionary. You can revisit these words, their meanings, and their contexts, allowing for a more in-depth understanding and memorization. Then, there's improved comprehension. When you take notes, you're not just passively absorbing information. Instead, you're actively processing the information and translating it into your own words. This active engagement helps you better understand the nuances of English, including grammar rules, sentence structures, and idiomatic expressions. Another benefit is better retention. The act of writing things down itself helps solidify the information in your memory. And when you review your notes later, you further reinforce the learning. So the next time you hear or read those words or phrases, you're more likely to remember them. But what about listening skills? Yes, note-taking can enhance those too. When you're listening to an English speech, lecture, or conversation and taking notes, you're training your brain to pick up key points, even when the speaker is talking fast or using complex language. This practice builds your ability to understand spoken English in real-life situations. So how can we maximize note-taking for English learning? Here are a few tips. 1. Be systematic. Create sections in your notes for vocabulary, grammar rules, and phrases. 2. Make your notes visually appealing. Use colors, highlighters, and symbols to make important points stand out. 3. Review your notes regularly. This isn't a one-and-done deal. The more you review, the better you'll remember. And finally, practice using the words and phrases in your notes. Write sentences, create dialogues, or even make a story. This practice not only reinforces the learning, but also helps you gain confidence in using English. With consistent and effective note-taking, you'll see a significant improvement in your English skills in no time. We've covered a lot today, haven't we? Let's wrap things up. We delved into the world of note-taking, discussing its basics and exploring different methods. We saw how it can be a game changer in English learning by helping you understand, remember, and apply new concepts more effectively. Each method we discussed, be it the Cornell system, mind mapping, or the charting method, has its own unique strengths. The aim is to identify which one resonates with you the most and can assist you in your learning journey. Remember, the essence of note-taking is not to transcribe verbatim, but to capture the idea in a way that makes sense to you. It's about making your learning more active, engaging, and ultimately, more effective. Remember, note-taking is more than just jotting down words. It's about understanding and retaining information. So grab your notebook and pen, and let's make English learning a successful endeavor. Until next time, happy learning.